Welcome to the Mrs. R Relevant Daily Draft Podcast brought to you by the Draft Professor. It's Thursday night here with EJ. EJ, it is great to see you on a Thursday. How is everything in your football world?
Oh, this is good. Great to be here. I got Drake May dealing in the background. I think your Bill's going to have something to worry about with this quarterback. I think he can play a little bit.
Yes. Buffalo is a game and a half behind the Patriots for the division. That wasn't on my bingo card halfway through the season. That's not the way I saw it going. Hey, you went through 44 running backs over the last 5 weeks, and you put your running back board together. So how would you summarize the running back class as you look at the top 20 that you have here?
I would summarize it as you got more specialists in this class than in last year's class. I would say you got some some kick returners first and foremost. You got some third down running backs. You got some guys that are just going to be strictly rotation guys. A lot of these guys are going to be rotation guys, like secondary rotation guys. They'll be playing next to somebody, or they'll be playing in addition to somebody. But I think there's talent in this class. There's some athleticism, some explosiveness. I think some guys that we're still yet to find out about, because there's some guys on the list that I literally just got to, and I had to put them on the list, like the kid from Tennessee. We'll talk about him later, but I had just got to him, so I had to put him on the list. So I think we're finding out now that there is some talent here, but it's just not the high-end talent like it was in previous drafts.
Yeah, so do you want to take everybody through your board and talk about each player a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. All right, I guess I'll start at the top. Jeremiah Love. It's nothing really I can say that hasn't been said already. But what I like about him is I like the fluidity that he plays with. I like the vision that he plays with. When he sets up his blocks and he's getting through the hole and getting through the line of scrimmage, it's so fluid in his movements, easy acceleration, and I think there's a ton of upside with him. As a receiver out of the backfield. I think he can legit run routes. Good size for the position, over 200 pounds. And I think he has a frame to add a little bit more muscle without sacrificing speed. So I have him as my running back one. I think he can immediately come into a running back rotation and be a contributor.
And first round grade on Love for you?
Yeah, I got a late first round grade on him. Late first round, possibly early top of the second round, depending on who's picking where. But I think he's I got him as a late first round talent. Yes, he must pass block, but he has to. The thing about him pass blocking is how often do you want him pass blocking? Because I'd rather have him going out and catching the pass and being in the check down outlet. But in order to play on third downs, you have to be adept at pass blocking, and not just I always say it's not just pass blocking in the physical aspect. You have to know exactly who's coming, who to block, because with running back rules, sometimes you get multiple rushes coming from you. The running back is supposed to take the innermost threat, the most immediate threat to the quarterback. And some guys can't tell a difference between if it's the outside rusher, if it's the inside rusher. So you have to know exactly who to block as well as be good at blocking.
Okay, and then the only non-Notre Dame and non-Penn State running back in your top 5 is Jonah Coleman. I was surprised. Did I know that Coleman was going to be your RB2? Yeah, I guess at the end of the last show, you had said that Coleman was your RB2. How close is Coleman to Love for you?
I think he's a tier below Love. I think he lacks the explosiveness that Jeremiah Love has, but he makes up for it in the power and the physicality that he runs with. He's just a different type of animal than what Jeremiah Love is. He's not a guy. Jonah Coleman is not a guy that you're gonna line up in the slot and expect him to be some dynamic guy in space. He's not that type of player. But what he is he's a strong back, low center of gravity, but rocked up, physical runner. He's the guy that's going to sustain drives for you. He's going to get the tough yardage for you. He has a little bit of quickness. He has a little bit of burst, but he's a guy that you're just going to, he can handle a volume of carries, and he's going to get you your 4 to 5 yards, and he's going to sustain drives for you. Now, he may function in a tandem, but that should be his role in the NFL. He should be like a sustaining type of running back. But as far as like the high end traits and all that, that's not there. That's where I separate him and Jeremiah Love.
Okay. And then we should just address the elephant in the room. So there's a couple people in the chat
looking for
Robert Henry. And we did podcast on him.
Yeah, we did. We did a podcast on him. He's on, I think he's on the list. He's somewhere on, well, he's not on that list, but he didn't crack my top 20 yet. But he was okay. He was okay. He's a good player. I didn't see any outstanding wild physical traits when I watched him. But he's in that list. I think like that last group with Roman Hemby, Bryson Washington, Darius Taylor, Mark Fletcher, Hollywood. I mean, I could have easily swapped Hollywood for Robert Henry, but I got him in that group of guys where they have a solid vision, they have a solid skill set, but no outstanding physical traits. But Henry, he's a good player. He's a good player. Like on my final list, he'll find his way probably on my final list. But he's just, these guys that's on this list now stood out to me a little bit more.
Yeah, and something, I probably should have asked you this as an intro, but may as well bring it up now. So I remember when we did running backs last year, and one of the things that stands out is you said you like explosive running backs on day 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
And when you went through the podcasts, the last 5 weeks, you would always comment about whether or not the player had a dominant trait. So if the player is just good at what they do, but they don't have a dominant trait, it doesn't surprise me to see some of those guys fall either to your, list 11 to 20, or they didn't even make the top 20. Do you want to explain more of what you like about running backs and the whole dominant trait aspect of your evaluation?
Yeah, basically what I look for in running backs, you got to have one NFL trait that you can like really hang your hat on, whether it's your physical ability, whether it's your vision, whether it's receiving ability, or if it's like all of the above. Something has to be special, and that's what I look for. As far as explosiveness, you want your running back to have some type of explosiveness to his game. When you look at the best running backs in the league, a lot of those guys are a threat to rip off the chunk play at any time they touch the ball. So that puts a different type of fear into a defense, and the defense has to actually play a different way. So I want my running backs to have that type of explosive trait to them. If they don't, then possibly how do they win? I look at guys like, how do you win? Because like I got a Kaytron Allen in my top 5. It's nothing explosive about Kaytron Allen, but he has excellent vision. He's a highly skilled running back. His excellent vision, he sets up his blocks very well, and you see that's how he can win. So I say that's his A+ level trait. That's why I put him up there so high, not for his physical abilities, but for his vision and his way to manipulate a defense. So basically, I'm looking for like a special trait. But these guys at the back end of the list, they don't have that wild special physical trait, but you put their entire game together, and they're still a solid running back. So I can see like some of these guys, like a Darius Taylor or something like that. I can see them having a solid, excellent NFL career. Because you look at a guy like this year, a guy like Kyle Monangai. I don't think he even got drafted, or he got drafted really late. He
round
does
7.
Round 7, because he doesn't have a special physical trait, but he's still a contributor on a pretty good team, and he's still contributing in that backfield. That's because you put his game in totality, and he still can find a role. That's how I look at some of these other guys that's closer to the bottom of the list. That's how I look at a guy like Robert Henry as well. Like, he may not get drafted high, but maybe he can find a role on a team somewhere. But with these guys, the physical traits I look for first and foremost. Of course, they got to have the skill set. They got to have the vision. They got to have the processing ability as well. But if like physical traits with the running back, that's something you can't teach, and it's something you can utilize in a couple of different ways.
Okay. I'll let you get, like, you can go through more players, but one of the things I remembered when we were going through the podcast, we covered Raleek Brown from Arizona State the first week.
Yep.
And you had a day 2 grade, you thought, at the time that you podcasted on Raleek Brown. Is Raleek Brown still a day 2 grade for you?
I don't know. I don't know, because I want to look at him a little bit more. Because honestly, he might go a little bit even higher on this list by the time it's all said and done. Because I plan on coming out with a final list, once draft time really kicks in the high gear. But I might even have him a little bit higher, because I like the skill set that he had. He plays at Arizona State. He was a 4-star coming out of high school. Went to USC. USC put him at wide receiver. They try to make him a wide receiver. He transferred out of USC, ends up at Arizona State. But this is a kid. He's a pure athlete. Even in high school, track background, ran a bunch of sub 11 100-meter dashes, clocked a 4.47 in high school. So, put him in an NFL strength and conditioning program, or just get him with a trainer that's training to get to the league. He can run a little bit better than that. So, and when you put it on the tape, he's got excellent feet. When I say he has excellent feet, think of Jahmyr Gibbs. He gets where he needs to go with no wasted motion. He has excellent speed. He's a smaller back, but he's a guy that he can. It's not such a detriment to him, his size, because he has the speed. So he's not going to be a guy that's going to move the pile or anything like that. But he is a guy that's going to run by you. And so, given the fact that he's played some wide receiver, given the fact that he's played some running back, he's a weapon in that backfield. So first and foremost, you can put him on special teams, and he can return some kicks for you. Second of all, he can start off as being your third down back, your change of pace type of guy, but the athleticism is there, the physical ability is there to get more out of him. He's got a ton of upside. I think he's an upside player. So I might not necessarily. I don't think I got a date. Well, I'm thinking about it now. Maybe I might stick with my day 2 grade with him. So I'm looking at around somewhere in the 3rd round. So that we was talking about cutoffs before. That might be my cutoff right there.
So do you have a day 2 grade then on Justice Haynes, Quintravian Wisner, Jeremiah Cobb?
Yep. Yeah. I'm looking at a run of running backs to go like in the 3rd round, in the mid to late 3rd round, and into the 4th round. That's where I'm looking for like the sweet spot for these guys to go, because the only 2nd round grades I got, I would say, would be Jonah Coleman and possibly Jadarian Price. After that, I think a lot of these guys are going in the 3rd.
Okay. So what was the dominant trait for Jeremiah Cobb?
For athleticism. He's got another guy with track background. He's got some long speed to him, and the fact that he's got it at that size, he's got a strong build, and he's another guy that's got a little bit. He's got room to grow, specifically maybe in his legs and in his quads, because that's where I really like running backs to get bigger in their legs, because that's where your power comes from. But yeah, I mean, I had him as a guy earlier in the summer that I thought was going to break out, and that's exactly what he's doing now. He's putting together a pretty good season. So if he were to come out, I think I think a lot of NFL teams would like him because he's got that size speed combination. He's more of a straight line runner, but he has that power and speed combination to where if you give him a runway, he can break off the chunk plays for you.
Nice. Anybody else in the top 10 that you want to highlight?
Damon Claymore. I like this guy. He's another smaller running back. I like these. I mean, these smaller running backs, you can find a hole for them because they are, and they're not necessarily your top of the rotation running backs, but they can come in and they can contribute. Like kind of like Bucky Irving in his rookie year, he can come in and he can contribute and then go from there. That's why I look at guys like Raleigh Brown, Damon Claiborne. Excellent quickness, excellent change of direction. He can be a threat as a receiver. I would like to see him. I think he had like 3 fumbles. I would like to see him cut down on the fumbles. He's got to hold on to the ball there. But you put him as a punt returner or a kick returner, he can do damage there. But he's just that type of electric athlete to where he can make somebody miss. He can turn something from nothing. You can give him the ball in space and he can attack your defense. You can use him on some screens or some Texas routes or something like that, and he'll get you yardage there. So he's a guy that you want in your say like he can be the lightning to your thunder. If you have a stronger, more powerful back, he can be the lightning to that thunder. That's the type of running back he is.
Nice. Now, I'm looking at 11 through 20, and I think if I have to pick a list that I like better, I think I'd rather have a lot of the guys 11 through 20 over a few of the ones that you have in your top 10. So, like, for example, if I remember the podcast right, specifically Emmett Johnson, Jamarian Miller, Roman Hemby, those 3 specifically, I remembered you saying, okay, this is a 3-down back. But to your, let's say, evaluation criteria, there may not be a dominant trait there. But those 3 guys can play all 3 downs. I remembered Hemby specifically has a lot of chops in the receiving game. But you want to comment on any of that?
Yeah. So Emmett Johnson is a guy. Yeah, he's explosive. I think he can be a 3-down back. I think he needs to just add to his play strength a little bit. So he has 3-down back upside, and guys like Jamarian Miller and Roman Hemby. Roman Hemby, I've seen he's been a sustaining back. I watched him close out a game when we did that running back podcast. So he can be a sustaining running back. It's just he doesn't have the wow trait. He's not necessarily super elusive or has that excellent straight line speed, but he's a solid running back. He's a guy that you can hand the ball off to. He'll get you your 3 to 4 yards, and he's a factor in the receiving game. So you got these guys that have more complete games, and if you have a solid offensive line or you have the solid offensive structure around them, they can be very productive running backs for you. These are the guys that you're going to get later in the rounds, and they're going to be a bargain for you. A guy like Jam Miller, he does everything well. There's no physical outstanding trait for him. He has some quickness to him, but he just does everything well. He does everything. I think of him and I think of Tyree Williams from the Rams. Not necessarily the fastest guy, but he's quick. He's elusive. He's got good vision, and that's what's the most important thing. If you got good vision, you'll still be able to get positive yardage. And then like the home run swing is CJ Baxter. If he does declare, your whole issue right there would be get him healthy. If you get him healthy, you got over 200-pound back with some speed and some power and some quickness. I mean, you got a possible day 2 talent on day 3 if he were to declare. But medicals are going to be a big thing with him. That's the only issue with CJ Baxter. I wasn't going to put him on the list, but the talent that he has demands that you put him on this list. But he's just a major medical question mark. But the rest of these guys, Bryson Washington, another one, highly skilled, but just no physical standout trait. Not in my opinion, no physical standout trait. Same thing with Darius Taylor. Now, Mark Fletcher, he has, I think he's more of a typecast. He does have a standout physical trait, and that's his size. He moves well for a player his size. But he's strictly he's strictly a downhill type of runner. You want to get him on a runway. You don't want to hand him the ball offset and just have him start, because he doesn't have the first step quickness. So it's better off you get him ahead of steam and get him going forward, and then that's when you see his power really kick in. And a guy like Hollywood Smothers, highly productive. But he's a guy I want to see him get a little bit bigger and stronger, because my whole thing is with him is where you hit him at is where he goes down at. I mean, he has some tackles where he slips the tackles and he can get by some guys. But I want to see him run with a little bit more power. I want to see him a little bit stronger. And actually, I want to see how he tests as well, because I'm not sure if he's, I just want to see how he tests. I think I want to see exactly how good of an athlete is he. But like you're still going to get production from day 3 with that list of 11 through 20.
Yeah, so I know that Hollywood Smothers within the Draft Professor group chat has a cult following.
Oh yeah, they love him.
Yeah, there are people that have Hollywood Smothers, like they would have him probably on this list ahead of Jadarian Price. They'd have him, it's either Love Coleman or Coleman Love, and then Smothers is the third running back in the top 3. What is the ceiling if Hollywood Smothers gives you positive results from the testing? How high do you see him going? Like, do you see him cracking the day 2 list, or do you see him? Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I would still have him probably day 3. Because how good is the testing going to be? Say if he goes out there and he runs some sick 4.3, something like that, I'm gonna go back to the tape because I didn't see 4.3 on the tape. Honestly, it looked like he was like more of a 4.5 player, and he looked like sub 200. And you got a 4.5 player that's sub 200 pounds. You gotta see exactly. All right, what else is it? I don't consider that a high-end athletic traits, but he does have good change of direction, good quickness. So I want to see how that fits in. But my main issue is something I don't know if we're going to see it with testing, because I want to see him get stronger. I want to see what he weighs in at possibly, and does he keep that weight, or is that just combine weight that he added to look good? So my main issue with him is I need to see him run a little bit harder. I want to see him with a little bit more play strength. I want to see him break a little bit more tackles, because the college production is great. I think he benefited from a pretty decent offensive line when he was running. When I watched him, they made a lot of holes for him, and all he had to do was run straight through a hole. He can create on his own, but I'm not sure how his level of athleticism translates to the next level. So I'm gonna dig deeper on him and see. Because if everybody seems to like him, I gotta see why exactly. So I'll dig deeper on Hollywood Smothers and see exactly what he is.
Oh, I just like trolling the people in the group chat. I'm okay. I'm okay trolling the group of 110. And that's one of the reasons that we podcast is, how do I want to say this? So if you see something on Twitter, if you see somebody tweeting about a player, and either we didn't podcast on him with Draft Professor, well, we've got 110 people that are talking about players.
Yeah.
So if we don't podcast about the player, there's a good chance that whatever you're reading is, somebody hiding behind social media.
More than likely. Probably.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was also looking, I was pulling up some data right now. So if you have 9 running backs in your top 100, so do you think Raleek Brown is going to grade in your top 100 with what you've seen so far?
I think he should. I'm pretty sure. Okay. I think he will, yeah.
So Would it surprise you if I were to say that if 9 running backs go in the top 100, that we are 1 plus 2 is 3 plus 6. We're 2 running backs ahead of the average for the top 100. So the top 100 average is between 6 and 7 go on day 1 and 2 combined.
Okay.
So if you've got 9 running backs in your top 100, that's a moderately robust class, even if we're missing a couple of guys at the top, like we had the last couple of drafts.
It would be a deeper class, and it's possibly that a lot of these guys will probably fall more than likely, because say like, well, I'll have like a day 2 grade on some guys, but due to position value, trades, whatever happens during the draft, guys can fall for whatever reason. So that's the most likely outcome. I'll probably have like 9 running, probably this amount in my top 100, but on draft day, anything can happen. So I'm guessing a lot of these guys will probably fall.
Okay. And then there's one running back in this list. We did not podcast on Deshaun Bishop from Tennessee. So what did you see and what did you like on Deshaun Bishop?
He is, and Tennessee seems to have their type with running backs. You look at him, he's very much like Dylan Sampson last year. More of a shorter guy, compact build, excellent long speed. That's the name of his game. I think he's like a redshirt sophomore or something like that. Only 3 years in college, so I'm not sure if he actually will declare or not. But he has some good change of direction, excellent long speed. I'm a sucker for the explosive running backs. So excellent long speed, 5'10", 208, I believe. So decent size. But he looks like a kid with just a ton of upside. He's got a lot of juice to him. He has a decent vision. What they get him downhill on a lot of stuff. They run him on some zone type runs. So he's pretty good at putting his foot in the ground, just changing direction and getting right upfield. That's where he's best at. He has some physicality. He's not the biggest guy in the world, but he has some physicality to run through tackles. And he's not an easy guy to bring down. So he's more of an upside player. Not sure if he actually declares or not, but if he does declare, you can throw him right here in the mix on about day 3.
Okay. And anything else that you want to highlight on this list? This is one of the earliest running back boards that comes out. So anybody watching this podcast, we're 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. EJ and Andrew and I podcasted on approximately 44 running backs. And we've got about 21 running backs with a draftable grade. So what would any other players you want to highlight or talk about for a minute or two?
Nick Singleton. I think he's going to be a player that's going to rise up on a lot of guys' draft boards due to the athletic testing. But his film is inconsistent as far as his vision. That's the thing about when I saw him. I think he's probably he might be the best physical athlete in this class as far as height, weight, speed. But it's just that he leaves a lot on the bone, a lot of meat on the bone as far as his vision. Like he take on zone runs. You want to, you got your aiming points. You want to string it out and get around the corner, which he has the speed to do. You want to cut downfield and get straight up the middle, or you want to use your cutback lane. His decision making on that is sometimes inconsistent. There'll be an obvious hole right there but he chooses to cut back and run straight into his offensive lineman. There's sometimes where pretty much he's got all the leverage. Say that they run an outside zone, and all his offensive linemen are they have everything walled off. You can see from his point of view, you can see the back of all your offensive linemen, so you can cut off of their leverage and get right to where you want to go. But sometimes he'll just put his head down and go forward and just run into defenders. So I imagine that's the reason why his carries has been limited this season. But if a good running back coach can get it out of him, can get him to see and process things a little bit easier, he's right up there with Jeremiah Love. But he's a guy. But I look at him as a guy that's like highly volatile. So he can drop down these draft boards, or he can shoot all the way up, depending on what he does after the season, pretty much. But the thing is, like, whoever drafts this kid they're gonna have to do some work on his vision. So if that happens, then he'll be an excellent running back at the next level. If not, then he's just gonna be a guy that floats around. So I think he's like in politics they say a swing state. He's a swing player because he can go really either way.
Oh, love it. Okay, so EJ, do you play fantasy football?
I have no idea how. I have never played fantasy football before.
Okay.
I have no idea how to play it.
So running back episodes tend to get watched more than any other position except quarterbacks, because the fantasy football people want to know what running backs are in the draft, and then which ones should they be maybe researching based upon me listening to, right? Just my gift to the draft world is I can listen to somebody like EJ and I can start figuring out like up from down, so to speak. I would say the top 4 players that EJ has, I'm probably taking in round 1 of a fantasy draft. It doesn't matter what team they go to. I'm grabbing any of the top 4. Like, I really like Justice Haynes. I think he's been hurt. I was surprised to see Justice Haynes at 8. I thought you were going to have him higher.
Yeah, I thought I was going to have him higher too. But after watching him, it's just that, and he's a very good player. After watching him, I get a sense of what he is and where he's good at. He is a one-cut downhill runner. Well, which is in a good way, because that'll get you 11 to 1,300 yards rushing, if in the right situation. I don't think he's a guy that's gonna create a ton on his own, but if it's blocked up for him, he can get you a ton of yardage, because that's what happened. Like a lot of his chunk plays at Michigan, if it's blocked up for him, he's going to take it there, and he does have some power to run through arm tackles and all of that. But he's a guy that that's where he's best at. He has a clearly defined role. If you stray outside of that role, then that's when you see a little bit of a drop off in his play. But I think he is a guy where you know exactly what he is and you know exactly what you're getting. So yeah, so he's still a very, very good player. But
yep,
I just look at the other guys. They're, it's a little bit more in the tank. It's a little bit more upside with some of the other guys.
Yep. So then, and again, this is me. And first of all, always be careful taking fantasy football advice from me. So even though I play, I suck at it. I'm just saying. But out of everybody in my fantasy drafts, I'm definitely looking at everybody EJ has in his top 9. But the biggest one in his top 9 that I would avoid early in a fantasy draft is Jeremiah Cobb. I don't think Jeremiah Cobb profiles as a 3-down back. Correct, EJ?
Thing about it with Auburn, you got to see what the running back is asked to do. So I don't know. He's not asked to be much of a receiver over there at Auburn. But as far as being a runner, I think he can, he can play. But with his receiving ability, the pass blocking, I think the effort is there. I think the want to is there. I think that's very coachable as far as pass blocking. As a receiver, I don't think he was asked to be a receiver. So it's like it's pretty much to be determined exactly what type of receiver he is. Even as a receiver, I think, I don't think he wouldn't be anything more than, a check down, maybe possibly run a wheel route or something like that. So I don't think he'd be anything dynamic as a route runner or anything like that. But I think he can be a functional receiver. It's just the fact that I don't think he was asked to do that a ton. Let's see if I can pull up his numbers.
Yeah. So like if Jeremiah Cobb's there in round 3 of a fantasy draft, it's a yes. Yeah. But I'm definitely not taking him high. And
you're not.
I would actually Emmett Johnson, Jam Miller, CJ Baxter if he comes out, but we think he's going back to school. Yeah. Roman Hemby are all players who, like, I would consider taking Hemby in round 1 based on the scouting report without even knowing what NFL team he goes to, because he profiles as a 3-down back that catches a lot of passes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. As round 1 in fantasy, yeah. Probably. Yep.
So those are some of the names that I'm paying attention to. But why don't we pause here? So, EJ, do you want to let everybody know about all of the Rogue Analytics and other draft content that you do? And we'll go.
Yeah. Basically, pretty much you'll see me have a draft guide at the end of the draft cycle with Rogue Analytics. I'll be doing scouting reports right there. Usually for the past 2 years, I've been doing defensive backs. So this year I'll probably be doing defensive backs there. You can catch me here every Thursday and every Friday on the Mrs. R Relevant podcast, pretty much talking draft all day long. You can catch me on my Twitter or X feed, pretty much, film breakdown, player breakdown, giving my opinions on players. Everything I do there is film-based opinions. So, like I always say, don't argue with me, argue with the film. So pretty much, and I have my rules: no rage bait, no clickbait, none of that stuff. And I never ever say the word generational. So if that's your type of thing, give me a follow.
So I love having you on the podcast, and I love we're doing Thursdays and Fridays. So as EJ said, if you like this, tomorrow you'll be able to catch EJ at 7 p.m. doing linebackers with Sam Teets, Anthony Russo, and James Foster. And it's a good lot. Have you gotten through all the linebackers for tomorrow already?
Yeah, I'm on the last one now. I already got some tweets up about some guys, but I'm on the last one now, and it's an interesting group. And they say the linebacker is a really good position. So far it looks pretty good.
Yeah, and then we still have, after the podcast tomorrow, we still have one more week of 8 more linebackers. So if you like this group of 8, there's 8 more coming that are probably better.
Yeah, I'm just waiting to do Arvell Reese. That's what I'm here for. I'm just waiting to do Arvell Reese.
Awesome. Well, thank you for stopping by a Draft Professor podcast. If you have been here before, Keystone Cowboy, awesome to see you. HB, good to see you again. And Brandon, you're literally here every podcast, so thanks for stopping by. And then I believe this is Julian from the Draft Professor chat. Julian, good to see you stop by, so thank you very much. We're here every day at 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern. So the 7 p.m. podcast today was breaking down 11 safeties, and they have one more podcast to go, and then they will have finished going through the entire safety class. And then just depending upon what day you show up to see the podcast, the only thing that's really going to change is the person you see on camera and the position that they're covering. And our goal at Draft Professor is to cover all the players drafted in rounds 1 through 5. So basically find everybody's top 150 podcast on those players. And that's kind of who we are, what we do. We're going to be here twice a day, every day from now until the draft in April. So thank you so much for stopping by. For EJ, for myself, for the 110 people at the Draft Professor, thank you for tuning in. We will see you on a podcast again tomorrow.